Hello, Namaste.
Namaste.
I welcome you all to this Gurubodha session number 14. Dr. Gururaja sir is with us here. I cordially welcome Dr. Gururaja sir to this program and I request him to conduct the program. Namaste sir.
Thank you, Janardhan.
So this is our 14th session of Gurubodha with Dr. M.B. Gururaja sir, and I'm the convener of the program. My name is Dr. Janardhan Ahibba. Dr. M.B. Gururaja is an Ayurveda professor and a busy Ayurveda practitioner. He has his Ayurveda treatment center in Shivamogga, Karnataka. The treatment center name is Dhavala Pentacare Ayurveda Treatment Center. Sometimes we all Ayurveda practitioners might have experienced an Ayurveda patient comes and he keeps on changing the doctor from one doctor to the other, and they'll not be satisfied with anyone. And ultimately, when they come to us, they will blame other Ayurveda practitioner or other Ayurveda doctor in front of us, and they will sometimes exaggeratedly prices. So, I mean, how to keep the balance, and how should be the Ayurveda doctor's approach when the patient is especially blaming the other Ayurveda doctor or other doctor from other fields.
So it's very important. Whenever a patient blames other doctor, don't feed him with the further positive or leading points so that he can go on blaming the other doctor. If in future, if he is not satisfied with your approach, then you will also be put to the same blame in front of the next doctor. So don't appreciate or entertain any person who tries to blame the other doctor in front of you. Don't accept that arguments and things. Politely, you keep aside. Okay, let me come to the point. What exactly you are suffering from? You please explain to me those points. And anything required from the previous experiences of your treatment protocol, let me take a document and I'll go through that. So unnecessarily, if you are telling anything regarding any, it may be positive or negative regarding any doctor, don't take it very seriously or don't give any advantage or points to that type of comments. Keep it aside, because patients, when they want to have a treatment with you, they may praise you like anything. Once they are out of your chamber, their time comes for the payment or something like that, then their approach will be different. And once the result is out, then their approach will be entirely different. So don't take it anything positive or negative from these type of praising or blaming games from the patients. You keep it aside. Concentrate on the clinical aspects and the points which we need to concentrate to give a best result out of us. So we need to understand that point. Unnecessarily, if a patient starts blaming the other doctor, you just cut short it and you just make him to come on to the real points where you want to discuss with or you want to take a consultation with me. So such type of things should be entertained.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jay sir. Yeah, better to ignore the conversation and stop it there, and move on with the actual purpose of the visit, which is to consult and get the advice from you. So that's an important point there. And another thing is that how to go about with the disease explanation. What is the root cause? What has happened to me? What's the root cause? How is my liver? What's the exact problem with the uterus? So it becomes so tricky sometimes to explain the disease. I mean, of course, you can give some hints that such and such thing is not working properly. But when the client wants to know more and more disease, but we do not have time, or sometimes explain more about the disease might cause fear in the patient's mind as well. So we need to hit a balance. So where does the balance stand, sir?
Usually, when a patient comes to us as a single entity, as a client, without any attendant side by side, then we need to careful while handling him or her. What should be conveyed and what should not be conveyed. Something, if it is very grave things is there, you just keep it aside. You just put it on the word with a soft words that there are certain issues. We'll keep it aside in the last issues, and we'll see in the next visits. See how it comes. The outcome of the treatment will be. We will take care of all those things. Like that, you have to just pass on those informations. If a patient is quite strong enough mentally, to digest whatever may be the thing, then you try to explain with the real, exaggerate anything. Don't hype the prognosis, or it may be a bad prognosis, or it may be a good prognosis. Don't hype the things. Keep it as simple as it may be. You keep the terms in such a manner that patient will be convinced. So that is the one real approach to these things. Second thing, we need to take care while handling these patients when they say that what happened to my liver, whatever. There are certain laboratory investigations and imaging techniques available to us. We can take the help of that, because if I say, see, if your eyes are yellow or something like that, very convincing things are there, then we can tell them. Or if it is something sluggish liver, patient has come to us with a lot of such issues with the digestion and all those things, that he only experienced it. We can't tell him that you are having these problems, because he only conveying us that I am having a digestion issues. So when such things are there, which cannot be just enhanced, or what you call it, certified by our terms, better if such things to be required, then we may go for certain laboratory investigations to support our findings or his issues. So that can be taken, that part of can be taken care of in that sense. Then other words, the patient should be convinced that you might have done these things, which may fall under the purview of what we call nidana in Ayurveda, maybe the causative factors. Maybe any one of these might have influenced you to get this disease. So that is the way we need to convince them. And many times the patient say that I have not done anything, I have not done this, then I have not done whatever the leading clues you give. The same, all the leading clues will be just kept aside. No, I have not done, doctor. Still, I got this disease. Why? So this type of things will be very common. Then certain things are there. They are called sporadic diseases and iatrogenic diseases, and certain type of things are there, where sometimes maybe due to the age factor, sometimes maybe due to the genetic factors or autoimmune factors, or maybe nature of the disease. Certain times we may find some diseases which are not, we cannot give exact reason for the causative things, but most of the times the general causative factors can be identified, and it can be listed out to the patient, so that can be avoided. Because nidana parimarjana member chikitsa, the first line of treatment is that removing the nidanas. So that if you do it, then it will be definitely, it will be very good way of convincing. And of course, but we should not give any unnecessary assurances, or even the prognosis. If it is too bad also, we should convey it in a very soft terms. It should not be hurting the sentiments and even the feelings and the consciousness of the patient. We should take care of those things. If any person who is accompanying the patient as an attendant, then you can send the patient out and you convey the information as it will be as genine. You can convey it to attendant regarding the prognosis and all those things. So that can be usually done. That is a better method of doing it.
Anyways, it's always better to keep the disease explanation part short and crisp, with precise things without any exaggeration. So that's a good point taken there, sir. So next point is regarding the formation of rasas or tastes as per season. This is there in major Dravidana books. It says that formation of tastes according to season. In case of Shishira Rutu, Vayu and Akasha leads to bitter taste formation. Vasanta Rutu, Kashaya Rasa, so on and so forth. So can you please explain how to understand this, sir, and what is the implication and how we can apply this practically?
Any dravya which is produced in particular Rutu will have a tendency to develop a particular taste, because are predominance of the particular Mahabhutas during that period. So for example, in Shishir Vayu and Akasha is predominant, hence the most of the producers, the dravya which is produced during this period will have bitter principle or the bitter taste as the predominant taste. But it doesn't mean that all those which are produced during Shishir Rutu will have bitter taste. No, it is not like that. So the rasa of a dravya is also incorporated by nature of the drug. For example, amla is there, it is having pancharasa, but it is amla pradhana. It is usually around this Deepavali or the Sharad Ritu time, we get it, usually. But now we are also getting this Amla throughout the year, many a times, across the globe. Even in India, we are finding it in a different seasons. So, but the taste of the Dravya remains same. Maybe a slight variation in the percentages of Kashaya Rasa and even the Amla Rasa. That may change because of the season's impact. But the basic nature of the drug remains same. So it's only a general principle that during Shishir Ritu, we will have a bitter, most of the drugs which are produced will be having bitter taste, and in Vasant Ritu, the most of the things which are produced will have a astringent taste. Similarly, Grishma Ritu will have a katu or spicy, Varsha is sour, Sharad Ritu is it is a salt or Lavana Rasa, and Hemanta it is Madhur Rasa. But it is only a general line of principle that the dominancy of the particular Mahabhutas in that particular time, hence the produce will be of dominancy with these particular rasas. But it doesn't mean that it will be only these rasas are produced during that period. It is not like that, because a rasa of a dravya produces or manifests by the influence of various factors, even by the basic nature, swabhava of the dravya. So swabhava of the dravya is there, and it is, but in many, even the rasa is also fixed. We can't have a rasa which is totally altered. Only a few occasions we find an altered taste. That altered taste is not considered as what we call avyapanna rutukruta. It is a vyapanna rutukruta we call it as. So such type of variations are from season to season, it will be there. But as it should be taken in that sense of a general principle wherein these particular ritus will produce this particular type of rasa dominancy.
Thank you, sir. And next is arrangement of tastes as per guna or qualities. So here, sweet and unctuous quality. Madhura rasa is snigdha, shita, and guru is explained, and amla is snigdha, ushna, and guru, because ushna is there because it increases, amla rasa increases pitta dosha. So lavana is snigdha, ushna, and guru explained again. So for the individual tastes, three qualities are explained. So can you please explain about this slide, sir?
See, it's a very important thing when we take the cases, or when we want to go for amshamsha kalpana of the doshic involvement, when we are unable to come to a proper diagnosis of what exactly involved, then we try to analyze amshamsha kalpana, then we try to break up these doshas as well as into their even the manifestation of gunas. For example, in a patient with psoriasis or Kitiba kushta, there may be blackishness with dry scales and itchy. So in that condition, the involvement of doshas are comparatively different when it is red and oozing with scaling. So based on these type of characteristics, many times we may try to understand, or we may try to select the dravyas which are having a peculiar type of combinations. For example, a Madhura is a Snigdha, Shita, and Guru. So it is all the three, Snigdha, Shita, Guru, are in a similar line, or a single line, or in a single lineage. Then such a dravya will have a profound effect of its Snigdhatha and even the Shitata. And whereas Amla dravya is a Snigdha, but it is Ushna and Guru. So combination varies, because Snigdha and Guru is in line with one lineage, but Ushna is not in the same lineage. Then automatically the total effect of Amla Rasa is entirely different or influenced by the Ushna Guna. Thereby we find it in a different manner which can be used. Similarly, Lavana Rasa, it is also Snigdha, but it is Guru and Ushna. But when compared to these three, which is best Snigdha Dravya? So best Snigdha Dravya is Madhura. Madhura Dravya, best Snigdha. Whereas Shita also, best Shita is, but when we come to the Shita Guna, Kashaya Rasa also comes into play as one of the Shita Dravya. Even Tikta also comes at a Shita Dravya. So while assessing these things, we need to understand, based on the qualities, we can try to select the drugs. It is for the purpose of selection which one will be best in that condition. So if a patient is having a disease, Akshata is more, then we need to select Snigdha Dravya. Then if the person is lean, thin and suffering from Shitata and such things are there, then we may select a Lavana Rasa Yukta Dravya, which is Guru Snigdha, but Ushnata is there in that. So such type of combinations are usually done based on the patient conditions. Many a times, accordingly, we can select the rasa of a dravya and accordingly we can make it combinations. These are all the Yukti Kruta combinations as per the Yukti of the treating physician.
And as Ayurveda students, initially when we are trying to understand the tastes and their actions, having this chart and understanding the individual tastes by their qualities helps a lot to break down their effects on respective doshas. Sir.
Definitely, because we try to understand because of the dosha only. When there is a particular type of doshic involvement, accordingly we try to select a dravya which is against that. That's what the Samanya Visiddhanta concept is that. So then we try to understand with the Gunatmaka. That's what Guna, whether we try to understand whether it is a Dravyatmaka Vriddhi, whether it is a Karmatmaka Vriddhi or it is a Gunatmaka Vriddhi. So based on these characters, we try to find out. And in Gunatmaka Vriddhi, we try to avoid those gunas by taking a contrasting quality to that pairs, what's called 20 gunas. Vadi gunas we call it, or Sharirika gunas. So such type of gunas combinations we try to make it so that opposite quality is being taken care of and which nullifies the effect of that particular guna. So that is the reason based on these characters, particularly based on guna, it is also called as guna siddhanta. Based on that, a treatment protocol can be designed. But generally, based on these characters, using a dravya is almost nil. Very rarely we find this opportunity to combinations and use it because many times whole drug is taken as a swabhava of the dravya, which is whether it is working in particular direction, and accordingly the drugs are used based on that characters. That is Vyadhi Viparita Chikitsa is the quite opportunistic one and quite a significant one, which we do it. Otherwise, Lakshanika Chikitsa, all these things are very secondary levels when we are unable to break the samprapti or unable to understand the samprapti, what exactly the disease is and what exactly involvement is that in that, then we may go for the amshamsha kalpana and accordingly we can treat them by using gunas of the dravya and such other minute characters. But otherwise, drug as a whole is taken, particularly for example, ashwagandha. Ashwagandha, the shade of when there is a vrishya karma has to be entertained or achieved, then directly along with that ashwagandha, some other vrishya madhura dravya are taken like shatavari, vidari, something like that. So directly we try to select and we use the drugs. Many times which may not be under for the beginners, but as time goes on or advances, then automatically you will find that trick or the clue in handling these type of things. And I don't think so. It is not a big issue that based on the rasa gunas and this thing, treatment protocol has to be designed. But very rarely people are doing it nowadays. Otherwise, drug as a whole, subhava of the dravya is taken into care and collectively drug is used.
Thank you, sir. Next topic is of milk, and it's a combination with sour foods. So the context is from Charak Samhita Sutrasthana 26th chapter, where he explains regarding a long list of wrong food combinations. In that, he says basically sarvam cha amlam dravam adravam cha payasasaha viruddam, meaning all liquid or solid substances which are sour in nature are not an ideal combination to make or should not be taken together with payasa saha viruddam. It's told as not ideal along with milk. So in that explanation itself, in that shloka itself, he gives a list of, Master Charaka gives a list of amra, mango, amrataka, matulunga, nikucha, karamarda, various sour foods. And in that also he has explained regarding amalaki as one of the ingredients, meaning amla fruit being sour predominant should not be taken with milk. But there are a lot of questions raised on why you should not be taken with milk. Sour foods should not be taken with milk. Ultimately, when they end up in stomach, they are any milk or anything which is sweet in nature it is kind of curdled due to the hydrochloric acid in the stomach. And also, there is a question. This is one of the readers asked this. So, why milk and sour food substances are contraindicated together when milk undergoes curdling any which ways in the stomach due to the presence of hydrochloric acid? Our stomach contains hydrochloric acid itself. So, when you consume milk, and it will spoil inside the stomach because of the reaction of acid with the milk in the stomach. So, then this is as same as consuming sour foods with milk. So, how to break it up, sir?
See, first of all, our stomach contains hydrochloric acid, even though it is one of the amla rasa containing material. But what acharyas are given as examples, wherein they are mixing with things, doesn't contain any of them as a hydrochloric acid. There may be some tartaric acid, some other material present in that, or maybe some lactic acid, something like that. But cannot be a hydrochloric acid. That is the one basic thing. Second thing, acharyas are given very clearly as an indication or something like a guidelines what should not be done. Definitely they have done with their term, and it should be accepted as aptopadesha, as one of the important pramana for our knowledge. When very clearly it is said it should not be done, it should not be done. It definitely going. They might have observed it by using it, and it has resulted in diseases or something like that, or changes in the equilibrium of the doshas. Definitely they might have observed these things and they are listed out. So that's the reason they are quoted. It should not be consumed with their milk. Once it goes, any material when goes into, even milk goes into stomach, it gets curdled because of the hydrochloric acid. That's a natural process, it will take place. But doesn't mean that something which goes inside, then it gets spoiled. First only spoil it and then take it. That is not a wrong, it's a right way of doing things. Something which is to be avoided when we are eating it, it should not be in that format, and it should be accepted as aptopadesha quotings by the acharya, one of the information that it is definitely going to cause some problem on our doshas. It should not be done. Just like how sprout grains, sprouts also it should not be consumed. That's also one of the important issue every time we will come across. So it's very clear that one we should pramanas explained by acharyas. One of the pramana is aptopadesha, through which we get information, and acharyas very clearly given direction, disha nirdeshana, that it should not be mixed with payasa. So it should be taken as it is.
And also another point is that milk is one of the happiness products that we consume. So when we enjoy the milk and slowly consume it, that soothing effect over the tongue, over our esophagus, that local effect that it produces, and it also its effects on mind. It's also like soothing and pleasing. So those things also should be considered, not just the chemical reaction of what it undergoes in the stomach and etc.
Generally, if you ask any male, they will say that they are happy with the milk. You just ask the same question to the females. I have come across the many female patients. When I suggest them to consume milk, they will make face milk. How can I consume it? I don't like it. Taste and all those things. So many things. Shall I add coffee to it? Shall I make it in the form of tea? Something like that they ask. So milk in taste, one who enjoys it, for him it is a good one. But for those who doesn't enjoy this, it's not an ideal taste for them also. And even they don't like the smell of milk. I have come across so many patients. It is not lactose intolerance. That is entirely different aspect. It is a simple one, direct.
Some people are mentally intolerant to milk rather than lactose.
Yes.
Yeah. And coming to the question which we have received, Pradipaji asks, can yogurt be taken along with banana and yogurt with mango?
Why you want to make such combinations? That's my question. Why you want to see yogurt can be taken as a yogurt, and very clearly acharyas have suggested that yogurt should be taken along with some sort or some sort of Mudgayusha or something like that. A very clear Disha Nirdeshan has been given by Acharyas. We should follow it, and very clearly said it should not be consumed alone and it should not be consumed in the night. Let us follow it. It has its own effect, beneficial effects. And if you take it in other sense, then definitely it is going to cause abhishanti. It is one of the important abhishanti dravya. Blocks the srotasas, channels. Thereby, it may generate many diseases which may not be a direct having a causative effect. Our enlisted nidhanas. So it may give rise to some other new things. So why you want to take it? Because the present day yogurt is entirely different from what the curd is. The method of making is entirely different. And you want to make it in a different sense of combinations. Better take care not to use those combinations where acharyas have not given the direction.
Yeah, the context there came from, she only has written in the second line that mango lassi is very popular in North India. So mango lassi is just yogurt and mango again. So mango lassi is very popular in North India, made with yogurt and mango. So sometimes what is popular might not be as per Ayurvedic rules.
Yeah, definitely. Fruit salad is one of the most popular things nowadays, but fruit salad is contraindicated as per Ayurveda. We need to supposed to eat only one type of fruit at one time. We are not supposed to mix many type of fruits. But fruit salad with ice cream is very most popular. Nowadays, even gajar ka halwa with ice cream is popular. The carrot halwa and ice cream. So many things are there. The new way of presenting, or even people are also fond of telling that their friends and they want to boast in front of that. I have made a feast in that I have made this preparation and that preparation and a new one I have seen in a YouTube and something like that, and I have made a new combination, something like that. They want to come out with something new. They don't want to go with the routine things.
I am from Mangalore, where ice creams are very popular. Mangalore is a coastal city; it's very hot. So if somebody who wants to take ice cream with gajar ka halwa, there's a thing called as jackpot, which contains gajar ka halwa with varieties of ice creams and whatnot. So I mean, nowadays it has become like very popular to mix and match, ice cream with Maggi noodles and whatnot. But on a serious note, we need to be a little careful about all these things and not mix everything with everything.
See, reason is we don't know exactly what happens if it is mixed. There may be something which is a positive outcome or maybe negative outcome. If it is a positive outcome, okay, no problem, no issues. But if it is a negative thing, you are playing with your health. So we need to be very careful in understanding that. Before consuming anything, we need to, if possible, we try to understand the qualities of those combinations or yogas or preparations. Then try to make a combination based on the general principles. And after that, sometimes the things may go wrong. So we should be very, very cautious in handling these combinations. And of course, which is nowadays a continental or somewhat new taste. Something which is, that's what in India, what I observed is something which is said in English or some other languages, it will be very easily catched by the people. For example, we don't know what is exactly the pasta is, but people are very fond of noodles, pasta and such type of things, which is sounds something different. We need to have that is sound something different. We can't have routine things like idli, dosa and all those things. So we need to have something routine, no? Something which is sounds in a very new and unique manner. So that is the reason people are behind such type of things. Now we have got even bullet dosa, something like that, button idli, something new names are there, and the methodology and the presentation styles are changed. Even we have ice cream thali.
Yeah, and ice cream thali is a variety of ice cream and a sandwich. Again from Mangalore. If you come here, you can. But seriously, I'm reading a book called as Atomic Habits. It's written by James Clear. He explains that the habits happen with our minor permissions that we give to ourselves, especially the bad habits or the other positive habits. So if we fall into this chain of eating unnecessary unhealthy foods just because a restaurant is making, it's not up to us to, and it is up to us to go there or not to go there and enjoy that. But these bad habits and wrong type of food combinations. In US, how the McDonald's and other fast food restaurants came and took over the entire country, and there was a famous photo of people enjoying the beach in the 1940s and 1950s in the US. None of them were obese and everyone was seemingly healthy. But suddenly in the 1960s and 70s and 80s, this McDonald's and several other fast food chains came, and it became part of their culture, and culture became a habit, and suddenly the US is having an endemic of sorts of obesity and all. So we should be really careful what we put into our mouths.
See, the basic reason is we have been dragged to these dishes and all those things because of their taste. Because of the taste which we are being dragged to that. That's the reason nowadays you want to eat something, they will put certain taste makers or something like which stimulates your neurons and it make you to cravings towards the particular type of food. So that is the reason that pani puri and all those things, if you start eating every day when you pass by that, your mind says, hey, go and have it. That they will go and have it. That sense which is triggered by the toxic materials which are being fed to you earlier. That is already it has gone through the taste buds and it has reached to the higher center and it has efficacy. That is the reason people are fond about the combinations, and when they make these things, their only concern is for appearance, how it looks, how it tastes. They doesn't give any weightage or importance what may be its effect on the body, what may be its effect on the health. That part they are not at all concerned. Any general human being tendency is that something which looks good, tastes good, they will have it. And once they have, then there will be that craving starts in because of some additives they have added by the manufacturers. Then people will start eating that and becomes a regular habit, and later on we will find the outcome of that type of habits. So that's the reason when new combinations and new things are being introduced, be careful what to eat, what not to eat. It is to be decided by us. If we fall into the trap, then definitely have to pay by heavily on the grounds of health.
Yes, sir. And that's one of the reasons probably the acharyas have told that ideally food should be a combination of all the 6 tastes. So as much as we love the sweetness and savoriness and the sour and salty things, we want to indulge on that. Equal amount of importance is also to be given to our bitter and ascendant tastes. So it has both their effect on the mind and also the on the body. That it gives a hint. Probably, acharyas are giving a hint to us that we should not be solely attached to the food. We should be eating to live rather than living to eat. So another important point that how to include bitterness in our diet, sir. What are the ingredients that we can use daily so that bitterness is part of our diet?
Important is bitter gourd. That is the only one which can be very popularly available. Otherwise, other things cannot be taken so care of. And of course, if you want to have a little bit more bitter things, very comparatively milder one like methi, that is fenugreek, that can be taken into as a part of the diet. That also is a little bit bitter in nature.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And Charu Mahajanji explains most difficult part is deciding what to cook every day, which is nutritious and can be prepared in less time. So, any cooking tips from you, sir?
See, to handle the kitchen, they should feel happy in handling those things. It should not be treated as something, a burden put on to them, and they are just somehow they have to finish it up and go out of this kitchen and they want to enjoy other things. That should not happen. The entire family's health is at your hands. Kitchen are very, very important. We need to understand what should be cooked and how it should be cooked and what way it should be presented, and during the season what should be eaten. Everything has its own role. Mother should become more towards prone towards the health, and she should be conscious about the health and what should be cooked. That should be taken care with these angles. So it should not be simply just let me cook something today and I'll keep it and go out and watch TV. I'll do my other jobs, and I am also a professional. I got my other jobs too. So all these things are there. We need to balance our professional life as well as our family life, and particularly the women who take care of the kitchen. Of course, nowadays also give support to their family, even in making the kitchen works and all those things. It should be enjoyed and it should be done with a with a quite intelligent way. It should be handled. We should not simply go and whatever the things are there, we can just prepare and eat it. And so, no, it should not be done. We need to have a little bit cautious about what should be cooked and how it should be cooked and what way it should be eaten and what quantity it should be eaten. Everything has to be decided.
And also, I mean, Ramakrishna Paramahamsji, Shri Ramakrishna Paramahamsji, he was of the opinion that whoever cooks the food or offers the prayers to the God with flowers and all, the mindset while cooking the food is also of utmost importance. I mean, one should be concentrated. One should have all the positive mindset. The mothers at the home who cook. If someone is cooking with a negative mindset, so that can get transformed into the food and also into the mindset of the people who eat. So cooking is in a way it itself is a kind of a very auspicious and very responsible job. Even in the solar eclipse and in the lunar eclipse, once the eclipse is gone, even in the Indian household, in the Hindu customs, we take tulsi water and sprinkle into all the food articles inside the kitchen. So cooking is from a spiritual point of view also. I mean, cooking is a kind of a serious, and I mean there should be positivity there.
It's very seriously. Cooking is an art. It's a science and it's a responsibility. Entire family's health is at your hands. So we need to be very, very cautious what to cook and how to cook and what should be made combined. We just simply can't just by watching some channels or something like that, we can prepare something or something ready-made somewhere, we have brought something like that, we are doing it. That should not be done. Even I have seen people are, channels, they show it. What had been left out yesterday's, all things are combined together to make a new thing with some new masalas and some extra curry, something like that. Pour it on and make it a new dish. So such type of combinations definitely will yield a lot of diseases when it becomes a habit. So of course, it may not be simply by one day you'll have these problems. When you fall into the habit formation of particular this type of food preparations and food habits, culture, definitely a very wrong way, it leads to the diseases. So we should be very, very careful. Particularly the mother, one who cooks, should have a positive mindset and should also have an approach that very clearly that she will be doing it with lots sort of responsibility.
Charu Mahajanji writes, in US we have to wear so many hats, so there are no maids, so the responsibility is huge. Of course, it's difficult. Everyone acknowledges that it's not kind of an easy job. But again, coming back to the atomic habits, so slow by slow, step by step, one little habit after another. Somehow, some time has to be taken care. Probably vegetable chopping can be done on previous day and whatnot. I'm not an expert in cooking. I'm just saying. And next, Pradeepa Rayasamji explains, Indian pickles also include mustard powder, fenugreek powder. Perhaps that's why Indian pickle is given as a side condiment for every meal to cover all the 6 rasas. That is so true, sir.
So definitely, see, Indian meal, it's not only a simple, if you just go to any Indian household on any feast day, when there is a good feast, then you can observe that on the banana plantain, the banana leaf, we'll have all sort of things, 3-4 varieties of curries and payasams and even some sweets, and centrally there is a rice or some chapati or puris, something like that, and even some pickle and everything, salt, everything will be there on the, so and you can have even some something like that. So you can observe that our foods which are traditionally being cooked and all this, it's a complete wholesome food which has all the taste and all the nutritions required for the healthy living. That is the reason when we used to eat such type of things, we never had any problem of obesity and all these problems. But now we have got a lot of other things because of our junk food habits and eating without any proper rules and regulations. So we are not following the things. That's why we are being falling to the prey to these type of multinationals. They force us to come out with the new ideas and new things, that we are also very much fond of accepting the new things and adopting to them in a very fast manner, because time constraint or something like that, or it reduces our workload or something like that. Based on many things, we use them. So ultimately, the things here, we should be very cautious in handling these things. Otherwise, we may end up in.
And another important thing to note that, as you can see in this image as well, the amount of rice was limited, and the other things, the dal and the vegetables and the fruits and the other components would be more. But it has kind of reversed in, especially in South India, that we eat more rice and less of these vegetables and the sides. So that's probably is one of the reasons why the diabetes and other lifestyle disorders are on the rise. Probably we will be eating at least equal quantity, or we should be dividing our rice with the other vegetables and sabjis more proportionately.
See, that's not only the simply rice. We should not blame on the rice. We have seen people who use ragi millet; they are also diabetic. People who use maize, they are also diabetic. The people who use wheat, they are also diabetic as their staple food. So, getting a diabetes is quite a different and a multifactorial. It's not only because of our food habits. The food habits is one of the things. We have a very clear approach in understanding what to eat, how to eat, when to eat. Very clearly, it is said, "Hita book, Mita book, Shuta book, so aruk." When he is really hungry, one he has to eat once what is hita or conducive to him, or one he has to eat in a limitation which is optimal for him, that he should eat accordingly. So hita book, mita book, shuta book, so aruk. The one who eats in limitation, one who eats which is good, and one who eats only when he is hungry, then that fellow will be always be healthy. So that we need to understand. What is the important reason for diabetes is, people when they get a chance, they eat like anything, particularly in the night food. When they are feeling they have finished their entire day's job and they are quite having a quite good time, they'll sit and eat all the things which is what we call due from the entire morning. They'll take it in the night. So that is the reason consumption of food is heavy in the night by Indians. That is one of the important thing. Second thing, what amount of food we take it and what is the energy generated out of that, it has to be consumed in a day. It has to be exhausted. We should not consume a food which gives more energy, and that energy we cannot utilize it, and totally it will become an accumulation in the body. So if such things are there, if more quantity of food is being taken into, or more carbohydrate is pumped into the body, definitely any carbohydrate may trigger one fine day, depending upon our insulin depot, hampered, and anytime we may land up in diabetes. So it doesn't mean that it's only because of the rice. Rice is one of them. There are many issues are there. Any food can also, if it is taken in excessive quantity, on a long run may end up in diabetic. So diabetic people, because basically there are two type of diabetic people are there. One is obese diabetic and one is a lean diabetic. So accordingly, we need to manage with the food pattern as well as medicine.
And there is a question: can we complete the meal with a spoon of honey, sir? I mean, can honey be taken as last part of the meal?
That is not the right way of doing it, because very clearly Acharyas have said honey should be used only particularly in case of Varsha Ritu. In case of Varsha Ritu, you can consume a little bit of honey in the last. And as a honey, it's a Kashaya Rasa Dravya dominantly, but whatever we get it many a times may not be having the same dominant Kashaya Rasa. but it also has a Madhur Rasa in it. And of course, you should be very cautious in using those things. Madhu should be used alone or with milk many a times. That is the usual combination. Or on certain foods, you can make a combination. But at the end, it is not an ideal one to have a spoon of honey at the end of the meal. That may not be a right choice. Even Acharya has never said it should not be done. So there is no Disha Nirdeshana on particularly on these aspects. But it is not a right choice anyhow.
Continuing with the debate regarding cooking fresh food, not every woman are stay-at-home moms. So, how do working mothers or women manage everyday cooking? Working from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. is really tiring. Are there any hints on that? My wife also has this problem, so she involves the children. Some minor works like cutting vegetables to me also. So, getting the family together into the act of minor kitchen activities is a way out. And another thing is like it's really difficult. And if you are into a habit, padam cha varjayati it is told. Like we have to slowly. Maybe if we have the habit of not cooking every day, at least once or twice a week, we can start cooking. So somehow, I mean, we know what is right. So somehow we have to carve our way into the right steps. So.
See, it is by choice we selected some professions. When we selected a profession, we also should understand that what is our family responsibilities. We know where to break it and where to make it. So it is at our hand that if it is from morning to evening, I need to work, and how can a working mother? Yes, I can understand a working mother has too much of stress, but still you are trying to earn for the betterment of the family. If your family gets diseased, you will be more stressed in your work, and even your work may go wrong. It may face problems. You may not be able to finish your work in the office or your profession. So it has to be balanced in such a manner that health of the family and the family affairs has to be given due importance, as important as your professional life works. It has to be balanced. We cannot say that how can we do it. No, there is no question of how can we do it. You have to do it. That is a part of it. And to do that, we need to go for a very good time management. At particular time, you need to get up from the morning, and you need to finish up certain time, work in before that time, before the other people will get up. Something like that. That's a mother work is always a tiresome and thankless job. It has to be done throughout the year and 365 days and 24 into 7 that work is there. Of course, you need to take the help of other family members to complete the job in the kitchen, but it has to be for everybody's sake of the family health. We need to give that time.
And another question is that can you please talk about breakfast? In Ayurveda, breakfast is mentioned to be optional. What are some suggestions for ideal breakfast? At one point, people started to say fruit is a better way to start your day with. South Indian breakfasts are mostly fermented urad dal batter. Some of them, not all. So a few people also eat seasoned yogurt, rice. In the north, there is a lot of deep fried wheat products. Some people take like jalebi also in the morning in the north. What can be the ideal breakfast? Sir?
See, first of all, in Ayurveda, we don't have something called breakfast. We have only 2 meals a day. That is the concept in Ayurveda. The one meal in the morning and one in the evening. So in the morning meal, you call it as nowadays as a breakfast, something like that. But Ayurveda speaks about only two. Dve bhojane. It's very clear. So eat sufficiently. But what we are doing is in the morning, just a breakfast, some bread, some jam, something like that, and we run with just one glass of milk or something like that, or some fruits, and we start the thing and we'll go. So that should not be the thing. Ayurveda very clearly says the morning food should be neat, good quality. So if it is done, then it's the first way of beginning. Second thing, different cultures, different geolocations, and different part of the world, different customaries are there, type of food habits are there. So there are a set of people, dishes we have branded as a morning food. Of course, that depends on the customary area, as well as the cultural habit, and as well as the legacy you have brought in as a hereditary factors, or you are relishing on. Such things will be definitely playing a key role. And of course, if you are in southern India, some foods will be taken as a morning as a breakfast. If you are in northern India, something different. And if you are in UK, something different. If you are in America, something different. Of course, different part of the world, different things are taken as thing. But concept is, if your Agni is good, you are feeling hungry, eat one which is Hita to you. Eat one which is Hita in combination. So it's conducive to combine, it is conducive to Agni, it is conducive to the location. So all these things and the season. So if you're keeping all these things, then definitely it will be good.
Probably that's the reason why the Annadrava Swarupi Adhyaya and all those things are explained in the initial chapters of Sutrasthana of major Samhitas, because food, daily regimen, seasonal regimen, night regimen, everything becomes so very important. Next question is, does the Panchamruta Sevana is good for health? And if yes, then when?
Panchamruta, definitely it's good, but what Panchamruta is, because we have got a different set of Panchamrutas, how we prepare it. If you go to a temple, that Panchamruta is different, and in Dravyaguna, Panchamruta is different. There are two set of combinations. Of course, Panchamruta and all these things are to be taken not as a food, it is to be taken as some Tirtha Prasada. It should be with set quantity, it should not be consumed in a large setup.
Many of the religious things that we practice, they're kind of interlaced into the health Ayurveda components, and that's why in the form of tirtha, just a teaspoon. So probably that was the reason. So next question is, soon breakfast cereals became very popular in US, but is milk best when consumed in the morning or during bedtime? And what is the best time to consume milk?
As such, a consumption of milk, regarding that, Acharya has not put any its and buts, but only thing is, very clearly it is there, if a night or evening time, if you consume milk, it is Sadhya Shukra Karah Payaha, it is said. It immediately enhances the Shukra Dhatu. That is the reason it should be considered. Of course, but milk be used legitimately, and Acharya has very clearly said milk and ghee as considered as a rasayana. So accordingly, we need to use. It's because it's one of the Nitya Sevi Rasayana, Nitya Rasayanas.
So last point for today is, ideal Ayurvedic meal should be unctuous and warm. Master Sushrata also explained Snigdha, Ushna, and Dravottara, meaning it should be moist, and we should be sipping water or something. So Snigdha and Ushna. A few Ayurvedic fad diets, like modern Ayurveda practitioners, brought up stewed and cooked fruits. None of the Samhitas mentioned cooked fruits. In the Western world, as Ayurveda is becoming famous and people are getting more and more informed with Ayurveda, some misinformation is also spread in the name of Ayurveda. So
It's quite obvious wherever anything, if it is there, if see something from the West, it comes to India also, we try to make it Indianized one. Similarly, the one which is something which is from the East goes to West, then definitely they try to make it customary to them or something like that, what you call Yuganurupi, according to their feelings and their trend and customs, they try to change it. So that's the way it is done. Of course, that's a part and parcel of the growth of any subject or any knowledge, or it may be even Ayurveda. So I don't think it is a thing, but we need to understand that, of course, what type of fruits. The Acharya has said something different fruits, and presently what we are getting in the market, they are entirely different type of fruits. So we don't know the Rasaguna Virapaka of those fruits. So all this to be taken care of. But cooking a fruit and eating, of course, not every fruit is allowed. Fruit has to be consumed raw, and of course, we need to be very cautious in handling these things. Of course, there will be some these deviations and modernization and improvisation of Ayurveda, and the presentations will be there. And sometimes it may be supportive and good, and sometimes it may land up in worst things. in the name of Ayurveda, something even propagated may not be the part and parcel of Ayurveda. I remember one of the company has come out with Ayurvedic fabric, clothing, Ayurvedic fabric, dipped in Manjista and Haridra and such other things and Ayurvedic fabrics. So something which is, if it is said Ayurveda, it sounds good and people are there to go for it. So they will take everything to that. Ayurvedic will also come in future.
And Ushira mask, vetiver masks are there, and vetiver window curtains are there.
That is there. That is from the long back, even from the Raja times it was there. Even in Rajasthan, that cooler type of material where we need to have some platform, and through that the water used to pass through, where the mesh will be made up of ushira, and through that water passes and becomes a coolant. That practice time unknown during even the period of Rajas, it was there.
There is still, a continuation of questions regarding the meals, times, and how probably we'll take it next session. This is Gurubodha session, and this is Guru Sir who guides us through this. So thank you very much for all the participants for your active questions and making it more interactive. And a special thanks to Guru Sir.
Thank you all the participants. And thank you, Dr. Janardhan. Thank you.